Okay, welcome to the very first episode of the Strong Dad Army podcast. My guest today is an old friend of mine. The guy's name is Tony Doyle. Now, many of you won't know Tony. Some will, some won't. But Tony has done some magnificent work recently, helping out thousands of fellas, helping out the NHS, but we'll go into that later. Tony is an ex-rugby player. He's a current special needs teacher. And by now he should be a husband, but because of the COVID-19, he's had to postpone his wedding. But most importantly, like most of us joining in and listening to the podcast, is a dad. Welcome to the show, Tony.
Morning, Dan. Thanks for having me on. Hope you're
well.
Nice
one, pal. So you've got the honour of being my first guest, mate.
Quality. Honoured.
Nice one. So we'll just jump straight in, mate. Because obviously I know quite a lot about you. You know, because like I said, we grew up as kids, literally just around the corner from each other. But I mean, if you just want to start off, obviously as a kid, you played rugby league for many years. So I mean, if you want to just maybe talk us through that, where you got started, how that panned out for you throughout your teens and things like that, mate.
Yeah, sure. So obviously, as you've just touched on there, we weren't short of good times growing up with it. Where we lived, there was always plenty to do, loads of fields, and we were lucky enough to grow up in a street where there was about 40, 50 young lads, and we'd always be playing football and rugby, cricket, you know, whatever it was. Yeah. We had a good park, didn't we? So my love for rugby came from obviously watching my dad play and going to obviously same school as you, St Peter's. We were a very talented rugby school, weren't we? So I took to it it just happened naturally for me, rugby. Was never really sort of interested in football. I was a pretty good wrestler. I could wrestle when I was a kid, although I didn't compete. But yeah, rugby was always. I just had that natural talent at rugby, and it obviously progressed as it did. Luckily for me, as junior. Nice
one. So obviously I know this, but I mean, if you want to let everyone know like what clubs you played for as a kid and what teams and all that lot, and were you?
Yeah, so my dad coached at former Leigh Juniors, and then it was Leigh East. So obviously, naturally, that's where I started. Mm-hmm. But only did a couple of seasons there as a kid, and I made the move over to Leigh Miners, which was Leigh Rangers at the time. And that's when I first met Lloyd Pugsley, who was just, you know, hands down the best amateur coach there's been. And that's probably not even arguable. That I don't think anyone disagree with that. And then and his brother Stuart, and I've just progressed from there. So played at Leigh Miners all the way through until I signed for Salford at 16 from Leigh Miners.
Nice one. So how long were you at Salford for? Did you actually end up playing any games for them, or were you just in like training squads? Or?
So I signed for Salford at 16, straight from school, full-time contract. It didn't work out for me at Salford though. Probably shouldn't have signed for Salford, if I'm honest. I was at Wigan at the time. I don't think I was as committed as I needed to be. Well, not that I don't think. I definitely wasn't. It was a big sort of wake-up call for me. And Super League was quite new then. So full-time rugby league had only been going for about 2 or 3 years. So I think Salford was sort of in the early stages of full-time, whereas sort of your bigger clubs, Wigan and St Helens, were certainly doing it a bit better. And yeah, it just didn't work out for me. I don't think I was committed enough, and in the end, I came away and joined Leigh.
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, as you'll know, I spent some time at Leigh Miners. Obviously, I grew up playing for Leigh Rangers, moved on to Leigh Miners as I got older. I had a big break playing rugby myself, but when I sort of came back in the early 20s, I know you were there at the time as well. Even helping out with a bit of coaching, even in your early 20s yourself, weren't you?
Yeah, I was, yeah. Trying.
Yeah. So cool. So obviously, you've touched on your rugby there. So as I mentioned in the intro, you're now a special needs teacher. So how long have you been doing that? How did you get into that? Was it something you fell into? Or did you actually aim to do that?
No. Well, my mum's a teacher. Well, she's recently retired. So I suppose it was always maybe it was always there. In what I could do, but it was actually when I was at Salford. So we used to work in a lot of the deprived areas in Salford. As being full-time players, we'd have to go into schools and do coaching and teaching, and basically we're trying to promote rugby league in what is predominantly a football city. Well, Manchester and Salford, but you've got Manchester United, who then were obviously absolutely huge. still are, but you know, City have obviously levelled a little bit. And it was then that I kind of took a shine to working with, in particular, vulnerable people, vulnerable children. I just found a bit more of a connection and the sort of the thirst for knowledge and sort of how grateful they were when you gave them something.
Yeah.
From then, I just continued sort of coaching. I started dipping my toes in the water, coaching amateur rugby, and then I went full circle and ended up getting into teaching, and that's what kicked it off, really.
Right. So that's something you had to go like uni for or anything like that? Was it sort of on the job learning?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started running a sports coaching business, so delivering after school clubs in schools and.
Of course, yeah, I can remember that now. Actually,
yeah. So. And again, I didn't have much luck with that really, because it was flying, doing really, really well actually. And then we had a change of government, from Labour to Tory. But I think it was 2011 actually that. And with that, all the sport funding got cut. It was quite a weird one really, because we were building up for the Olympic legacy 2012, and Labour were ramming that home, and then cut all the school funding. So that kind of put a halt to my business really, because a lot of it was relied on school funding for sport, and it became a little bit of a free-for-all. Everyone was offering different things, and some people were offering sort of a day's teaching for like 40 quid, and it's just not feasible to run a business on that. So I had to come away from that, but my CV was getting passed around quite a bit. I got a phone call from a head teacher at a behavioural school in Warrington, Grappenhall Hall, which was an old residential. I went in. I've been there 7 years since, so never looked back, mate. Really, really enjoyed it.
Right, nice one. I know, obviously, we've been in touch a couple of times when you've asked me for little bits of advice and stuff with like training the kids and that. So is it do you teach various subjects, or is it just PE you teach?
Yeah, so I started off as a TA actually, covering but doing a bit of PE cover, and then obviously PE was always my strength, so took on the PE role there, and then. I'd started my teaching degree years ago, and just sort of life and well, as you know, kids and things like that got in the way. So I went back and finished that just over a year ago now. So I did 2 years at night, university at night, finished that, and now I'm the PE teacher, and I currently tutor a year 10 group, which is sort of 14 and 15-year-olds. So I'm responsible for a group of 8 students, sort of mentoring them and looking after their behavioural needs and their learning needs. So yeah, it's good, mate. It's different.
Great stuff, mate. Great stuff. So taking it's for pretty rewarding then, yeah?
It's rewarding. It's hard work. Yeah. So anyone who says that teachers don't need time off, well, in fact, you're all realising now that you're doing your homeschooling how tough it is. But yeah, it is rewarding, mate. Yeah.
I'm under no illusion, mate. I know people bang on about, they get loads of time off, but I don't think I know any teachers personally, or not that well anyway, but like a couple of lads that work at the fire station, their partners are teachers and stuff like that. And I know the work that they put in, they'll be working till 10, 11 at night at home sometimes, or, so the time off they get, I know they've earned it because they're working all those longer hours when they're sort of in work, if you know what I mean, and they're not on school holidays, so to speak.
Absolutely, mate. It's quite emotionally draining as well, and I don't think you can appreciate that unless you actually are in the classroom. I know teachers get a lot of stick, and maybe sometimes deservedly so, whatever. But you do take a lot of it home, and you can't sort of settle at home until sort of you've got it out your head. And sometimes that can take weeks and months if you've had a bad experience at school, or you've witnessed something as well, which happens quite a lot in my job. But yeah, so definitely need a break.
Yeah, well, to be honest, mate, I can kind of relate to that, because before I joined fire service, like just shy of 13 years ago, I did about 3 years working with kids who lived in care, like looked after children in a residential setting, and I enjoyed it, you know what I mean? But like I said, it's very physically and emotionally draining. I used to do 24-hour shifts there, and I'd come back, have 2 or 3 days off or whatever before my next shift, and I'd just be wiped out because it was just... it's frigging hard work, isn't it, man?
Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah. So, obviously, with me being a coach and what have you, I'm interested to know, mate, and there's no right or wrong answer, but how's your sort of like activity these days? Are you training much? Are you managing to get a bit of sort of activity done with the kids or on your own while we're on this sort of lockdown, or how's that looking at the minute for you?
It's not what it should be, I'll be honest. I'm not as active as I should be. Doing plenty with the kids. I've got, obviously, my two youngest who live with us are a really young, 1 and 3, so it's really, really difficult. It's kind of like picking the best time to do something active, because if you do something too early with them, the night time becomes a really, really tough. And likewise, if we don't do anything till late, then we've got all day stuck in.
Yeah.
So I've just been trying to do stuff with them, really. Me and my partner get out and do walks. But myself, I try and keep busy during lockdown. I'm still in work because our school's still open. I've been doing some stuff in the backyard. But yeah, I'm definitely not doing as much activity as I would like to be doing. Yeah. But I've got other things as well that are taking up my time at the minute. So
well, that's it, yeah. And like you say, if you're doing what you can, that's what it's all about, and that's what it's a massive thing I preach to, like, whether it be my clients or people who follow me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, is just doing something. A lot of people have this misconception that you must train 5-6 days a week and it's got to be for 60 to 90 minutes, but it doesn't at all. And the amount of times I've said to people, or I've put in, like, to my email subscribers and stuff, and I'll just say, Luke, if you can commit 15 minutes a day doing something that you weren't doing last week, it's a start, and it's a massive improvement. Because if you've been sat on your ass throughout this whole lockdown period, what we are now, coming up to week 6, are we, something like that? Yeah. If you've done literally nothing apart from just potter around the house, but yet you start to use this, 15, 20 minutes going for a walk, even if it's just walking in your garden, it's a start, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, especially when you see online and you see, and this is not discrediting any sort of training plan or advice that you see out there, when you see this, like, 6 days a week and it's an hour and a half, and you think, yeah, and you probably get results like that. But I just think, for an everyday person who works or has got a phone, it's not doable. And it's sometimes you've got to be realistic with it. I know for a fact I can't train 6 days a week for an hour and a half a day, because
same here, Paul. And I'm saying that with a garage gym behind me, you know what I mean? I can't do that either, and so that's why I do what I can. I tend to have a program in place, so to speak, and it might be 3 or 4 days a week, but I might only get 2 days a week. And if I do, I've learned to make peace with that over the last few years. 5-6 years ago, if I didn't get my 4 sessions a week and that I'd planned, it'd wreck me head. It'd wreck me head into the next week, and snowball, but now I realise it is what it is, it's doing something in it. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So right, on to the really important stuff, mate. So if you can, for those who watch on YouTube, you can sit back so we can see your t-shirt, the lockdown challenge. So I'll just briefly talk about that. But obviously it's your baby, mate, so I'll let you tell us all about it. But the lockdown challenge, for anyone that isn't aware, it's a group that Tony set up, mainly on Facebook. That's where it all kicked off. And it's aimed at helping fellas, sort of keep busy, just have a bit of a laugh, but just to be sort of there for each other during this lockdown period, really, because obviously there's a lot of guys been put out of work, especially a lot of who are self-employed and things like that. But rather than say too much, mate, do you want to tell us all about it, where the idea came from, how it started? And obviously I know it's gone massive now, but it's your stories to tell, mate, so off you go.
Yeah, mate, sure. So started basically through an unsuccessful trip to barbers, mate. As you touched on before, I should have got married, or we should have got married 4th of April. So I was due to get my hair cut a few days before, couldn't get it done. Obviously the barbers were shut. So just started a little thread on my personal Facebook saying, let's have a look at how everybody looks now, and who fancies just not shaving and then getting their hair cut through lockdown. Bearing in mind, I think everybody's views in the UK with lockdown would have been about 3 weeks. I genuinely think that's what people thought.
No,
probably a bit naive, but they did. And I said, like, I used a different word, but I said, whoever looks, let's just say the worst for now, after lockdown, we'll have a bit of a prize. And I got about 20 replies back on my personal Facebook. Yeah. And I thought, right, I'll start a group so that it's not spamming everybody's timelines, and then we'll just go from there. So started this group, and then first night I woke up sort of Friday morning, and there was like 500 and odd members of this group, and I was like, right, well, I'm not paying for a prize. This is ridiculous now. There's 500 members on it. And then it just kept going and going, and then Saturday morning, over 1,000 members. So decided, well, we could probably do something smart with this, and we can raise a little bit of money. to put an NHS link on there, and then it just kept going and going and going. And James Haskell, someone had got in touch with James Haskell.
I remember that.
To put a challenge to me to raise $5,000, and I'd do a flash dance in my missus's clothes. Well, they said underwear, but obviously.
It weren't a clothes, it was her underwear.
Yeah, but you've got to bear in mind, as we've just said, I'm a teacher, so there's no way I was wearing a thong and brag, go all over the internet. So we smashed that, and then from there, it just became apparent that it had almost been, we brought the pub and put it on this group, if you like, because people were able to come, share jokes and share how they were feeling in lockdown, and everybody was just getting on, and it's just become a bit of a community. Well, not a bit of a community, it's become a community now where people can jump on there, get some advice. Like, obviously you've been on with training plans. We've had we've got doctors and nurses on the group who put information on there, we've raised today just short of $12,000, and we've over 30,000 members, and a very, very high percentage of them are active members as well. Obviously, with any group, you do get fake profiles coming through, but we've got a good admin team, all local lads as well.
Yeah,
and it's just become a really positive environment, an online environment. So as people are sort of using the social distancing outside, we've increased people's sort of social media presence inside, if you like, and yeah, it's going well.
Yeah, good. So I mean, like, I noticed you've even been putting like sort of gigs on, haven't you? And things like that. So you've had like DJs. You had David Julian on last night. Shout out to David. We watched him in the Thriller show a few weeks just before lockdown happened.
Yeah, it's good.
Really good actually, mate, as well.
Really good, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, so I mean, the idea with that was to sort of bring like what would be a night out in, because I'm quite fortunate that I've got a lot of my pals are sort of DJs and artists and things like that. In fact, the town we live in is quite blessed really with some good performers.
That's right,
so I touched base with a couple, and we said like, look, let's get something on and let's start entertaining people while they're at home and use this now, the lockdown challenge. It's got 30,000 members. So we launched Lockdown and Loaded, which we've been running now for 3 weeks, and our views are just going up and up and up. So last week, I've not counted last night's, but sort of last week's viewing figures were over 50,000 views. So it's good from a little group that's just started to, as a bit of a laugh. Obviously, we're doing a lot more now.
Yeah, brilliant that, mate. So like you said, the big thing from it is obviously to help fellas have a laugh, really, like you said, because some of them and naming no names or anything, and to be honest, I'd probably forget half the bloody names anyway, but there's been a few lads posting there saying that they're struggling at the minute because they're locked down on their own, or they might not be locked down on their own, but they've lost their job, so they're struggling to provide for their wife, the partner, the kids, whatever, and just putting that message out there, and they get a lot of they get a lot of positive feedback from other lads in the group, and sometimes that's what you need, innit? You just need another, it's not always a guy you need, but sometimes you need, someone who's on your wavelength from, from that perspective, a working lad who's got a family to provide for, to just sort of give you a little slap on the arse, so to speak, and say, come on, mate, it's going to be all right. Just keep your head down, like, type of thing.
Yeah, definitely, because I work closely at our school with counsellors and stuff like that, and although it's great, how much helps out there, it's not always easy to open up to professional, if you like. So having the sort of platform where you can just test the waters a little bit and put, how you're feeling in a group, which pretty much everybody's like-minded, and people to respond back. And you've seen some of the threads yourself, sometimes there's 300 and 400 threads back about people offering advice, and it's all real life advice as well, experiences they've been through, and it just perks people up. I bet I've got 150 messages in my personal inbox of people telling me what that group's done for them and where they've been at and how much they were worrying about lockdown. And like you said, a lot of the lads are actually still the breadwinners in their family, so the pressure's been massive on them. A lot of them probably 90% of my friends are self-employed. So not having that money and that worry, the group has been a release for them, where it's a bit of someone texts me, and this is my guilty pleasure. I get up in the morning, I'll nip to bog and I'm on it and just seeing what's going on, because it's me. That's me get away from the stress of at home and stuff. So
this is it, mate.
Positive, mate.
And it's doing its job, isn't it? That's exactly what it's for. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, so join it, the Lockdown Challenge.
So, fellas, if you're listening, sorry, ladies, any ladies listening, it's not for you, this group, I'm afraid. But
the group's not,
fellas,
but we have I've got the Lockdown Challenge events page for the girls, for anybody. So that's where we're putting our live events. So the Lockdown Loaded, DJs, the singers. We're looking at getting some comedians on, so anybody can join that. So just give it a follow and help it grow.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do, mate. When obviously I publish this episode, if there's anywhere I can put the links to the groups in, I will make sure I do, because obviously I know you've opened an Instagram page now, haven't you, as well?
Yeah, we're trying to just spread the word, really.
Why not, mate?
Because what we want to do with it is, if lockdown finished tomorrow, it would be a shame for this group and this to disappear, because it's quite apparent that it's helped so many people. So obviously what I've said is that we're going to work on a way to continue it and see if we can help people or see how we can which direction we can steer it in, and continue for it to be something that is an avenue, first of all, for men. And then obviously as a bit of an event, we'll look at putting something outside on as well, and we'll continue to raise money as well, whether it be for the NHS or we can look at other charities as it progresses. So it's going nowhere. It's just going to grow. Yeah, good. Awesome.
So like you said, there's 30,000 members now. And how much have you raised so far for the NHS?
11,983.
Right. So if you're listening and you're in that group or you're not in that group, get in the group. Like I said, I'm going to try and post a link in the show notes, but get in the group, engage with people, have a bit of a laugh, see what it's all about. Most importantly, donate to the NHS. And all Tony's asking for, the other lads who help him run the group, is £1. That is it. So there's no doubt people who've donated maybe a £5 or a £10. There's probably even lads whose kids have donated the pocket money and things like that. But spare £1. If everybody in that group could give £1, 30 grand, innit?
Flying, mate. A big difference. I mean, we're already, I think one of the nurses said that sort of at 12 grand, you're already kind of saving lives there, because it can start to pay for ventilators and stuff like that. So it is important, and I think it's a little bit sweeter that it's just a group of ordinary men, and they're doing their bit. So yeah, it's good.
The good thing is, like I said, you've had messages that you've thrown in there. You've had James Askell, you've had him from Kirk from Coronation Street, or former Coronation Street if he was now. You've had loads of them, haven't you? You've had
rugby players, but Kirk from Corrie, Keith Duffy, Boyzone, Lee Greers, Ben Westwood. We've had a good few, mate. Few. Check it out. You'll see the videos.
Yeah, it is good. Right, mate. And just one thing I want to touch on though before we move off from the group is it was actually yesterday. So we're recording this on a Sunday morning. So it was on Saturday that I saw the sort of update on this. There was a guy, and there's been a few guys who've done this and posted in there that X amount of years ago, they were bad drug addicts. Obviously I'm not going to name any names, but they were drug addicts. They weren't being the best dad. They weren't being a dad at all. Weren't being a partner. They were this, they were that. And sharing the stories about how they've turned their lives around, and they've been ace. But there's one guy who really stood out to me, mate. And even if I could remember his name, I wouldn't say it because I don't want to do that. But he's gone for a job with the NHS. You know what I mean, don't you? Yeah. And he got the job, didn't he? Because I know it's a lads group, but I showed my missus the picture. I said, "Look at this guy here."
And do you want me to tell you that?
I could see my missus filling up.
I say a real strange thing about that, and I don't know. It's just whether it's just uncanny, but he used to work for me.
Right.
So when I was doing the sports coaching, I took him on as an apprentice. Okay. Absolutely lovely lad, great lad, loads of potential, and then obviously things didn't pan out for me business-wise, but he also had a bit of turmoil in his life, and when I saw that post, I was just like, wow. I mean, the interactions were up in the thousands on that post. Yeah. From strangers who don't even know him. But yeah, and it's just weird how things go full circle, because he worked with me as an apprentice, like I said, and then he's had such a rough ride, and now he's back and he's gone and got himself an absolutely dream job. It's just strange how things pan out. Yeah. So he said he'd done like 6 months voluntary work with the NHS or something, didn't he? Then he was going for a job. So everyone was, good luck, let us know you're getting on and that. And then yesterday he posted they got it. I was absolutely made up for the guy. I don't even know the guy, but I was made up. I had goosebumps and everything reading it, mate. Honestly, I was absolutely made up for him. So,
Right, mate. With you being on the first episode, this will become a staple of the Strong Dad Army podcast. Every guest I'm going to have is going to be asked the same question. I need you to tell us, for a bit of a laugh, an embarrassing story. As embarrassing as you can, that won't get you in trouble with your job. Or fire away, pal.
Right.
You will have some stories, so crack up. Fire away.
Keeping it so that I don't get fired, I'll have to cut out about 100 of my most embarrassing stories. So I'll go with, I've got one that could lead into another. So I'll go back to when I was about 14. So you know what we were like at that age. So me and my mates, I'm not going to name them. You'll probably know who they are. We've been knocking about, and one of the girls, like it used to happen back in the day, has told us that she's got a free house and her mum and dad are away. So we're like, yeah, Joe, jump in there. So all lads go round and, you know, doing what we do, music's on and having a drink and whatever. And then she's like, oh, shit, my mum and dad's here. We're like, what do you mean mum and dad's here? Like, you said they was away. No, they've only got pub, they're here. So this is in a terraced house, this block of terraced houses. So there's only one way out, and it's through back. One of the lads is upstairs, you know, doing what you do upstairs. Drags him out, legs it out. Now, I'm at 14, you won't think it now, because I'm quite small now, but I'm probably must have been tallest out of all my pals. Jumps over, and I'm quick as well at that age. I'm athletic, you know. I'm probably in my prime as a rugby player, I reckon, around about 14 to 16. Yeah. Jumps over gate, gone, I've legged it. Flying down backs. Next minute, all I can describe it as was like a whip, and I've just got this motion of me going backwards, and I'm doing a back somersault, and I'm like, what? Hits me head on the floor. I'm like thinking, what's going on here? Gets picked up by me, mate. I'm bleeding out my ear, and what I've done, I've been running that fast, and it was down a set of backs, and this house they'd hung their washing line from the garden down the backs. And I've gone straight, washing line in my mouth, it's backflipped me, knocked me out on the floor. So my mates have took me, and then morning after, I met me on a training camp with Wigan Warriors at a private school in Blackpool, and I've had to make up a story that I'd had an accident, obviously not told them I'd been on pot like night before and ran off from this daddy we thought was going to batter us. So I missed that camp, and then, I was off school again for about another 2 weeks. But another one, just briefly, just to touch on, I was in the paper just a couple of weeks ago with the lockdown challenge. It was a Manchester Evening News, and I'd appeared in that paper previous 1997 because I'd been top of my street. There was an industrial park, and we'd been playing a game of Manhunt. For anyone who don't know what that is, it's like a group game of hide and seek. So I've been on the roof, a factory roof, and the roof's like this, and I'm leaned like here, you can't see me. Yeah, so I stands up, had a look, and the lads who were like looking for me saw me. I've gone walking across to walk down, stood on a skylight, whack, fell through, 40 foot, landed on my head, absolute mess, you know, nearly dead and stuff, broke loads of bones, and I was cross-eyed for about 6 months.
I remember.
But Manchester Evening News reported it that I fell through a 65-foot roof. Which was just ridiculous, but all these years later, I ended up being back in paper for this lockdown challenge. So yeah, embarrassing, scary, but I'm here to tell the tales on them, so not too bad.
And your eyes are back to normal as well.
Yeah, well, when I've had a pop or I'm tired, that one just drops in a little bit.
Is it really? No way.
Yeah, lazy eye.
Brilliant. Right, mate. So I know obviously you won't be able to give us like the full link or anything because it's a big, long fundraising link. So like I said, I'll do my best to post it in the show notes. Or if I don't, when I post it on Facebook, I'll make sure I post the fundraising link in the comments and what have you. And obviously we'll post this in the group so that the lads in the group can have a listen and hopefully have a bit of a laugh at your story as well. That's pretty much it, mate. So just tell everyone where they can find the group on Facebook and everything again for us, mate.
Yeah, sure. So head over to Facebook. In group, search for the Lockdown Challenge. It is a private group. It's a closed men's group because of obviously it's all about boosting men's mental health and well-being during lockdown. We also have a page, which is the Lockdown Challenge events and community page. Anybody can join that. Anybody can like it and follow. If you do, check out what we've been doing. Invite people to follow it and like it as well. And Dan's obviously going to put our Just Giving link on there, and it's Just Giving Lockdown Challenge for the NHS, which is going, all the money raised is going to the NHS. You know, even the t-shirts that we're doing, profits go to the NHS. So check it out and just help us help the NHS, because we need it and they need it.
They do, mate. Right, Paul, I think we'll call it a day there. Thanks a lot for joining me, having the honour of being my first guest.
Quality, mate. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries. Take it easy, and I'll be in touch with you very soon. All right, pal?
See you soon, Dan. Thank you.
Mate.